towards khayr. They would run towards doing good. And yesterday we said that we've become so selfish that we will only do good if there is some sort of benefit in it for us. We won't go out and do something just to make someone else's life better. I always want some sort of value back for the good that I do. If that value, not necessarily monetary, but praise on my face, or have me praised in front of other people. This desire to seek the validation of other people is one of those things that will take us away from Allah, guaranteed. If what I do is truly qurbatan ilallah, then nobody needs to know that I do it. But if it is not qurbatan ilallah, then I will talk and I will tell whoever I can find about all the good that I have done. And we said in the hadith from the fifth Imam that every time someone speaks about a good action of theirs, though they had done it in hiding, Allah gave them 70 thawab for that one action. But the moment they tell one person about it, Allah removes 69 of those thawab and leaves only one. And when they go and they tell the second person about what they did, then Allah removes that one thawab as well, and instead of giving them thawab, writes a minus for them, gives them one sin in place. And it could be that they were reciting Salatul Layl. So, yusari'una fil khayrat are those that run towards good, to do good, not just for others, but towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in terms of ibadat, anytime. These are those people whom in a masjid, when there's someone that is needed to volunteer to help do something, I don't know, vacuum the masjid or serve, they're the first there. They're the first people there. And they don't want any sort of position in the committee, they don't want any sort of recompense from anyone. They're doing it solely qurbatan ta'atan ilallah. Now those are those who are yusari'una fil khayrat. But those that seek, some people in different places, they do actions openly so that they can have a position. Yeah, they want a position on the committee. Or they do an action openly so that, they get votes from people. All of there's different drives that people have for working inside of in a community. But that isn't real khair. That action of theirs won't bring any sort of benefit to them. Rather, it may bring some temporary, zahiri benefit. But when we talk about the ukhrawi or the benefits for the akhirah, the everlasting nature of an action, it won't remain. See, this whole world is built on a simple law, and that is the law of cause and effect. Every single thing you do has an effect. Every single action you do, every sin, every good deed, affects not just you, but the very environment around you. The standard, the default position of all of existence is ubudiyah, is the worship of Allah. But when you sin and you go against this ubudiyah, you go against this natural order of service and servitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then all of nature itself turns against you. Then nothing goes right in that person's life, because everything is against them. They're flowing up, they're going upstream rather than going with the stream. This stream of ubudiyah started from that first kun. The first kun that Allah ever did. From then ubudiyah began. the haqq of ibadat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala began. Because Allah is qadeem, His sifat are qadeem. And so His ibadat must be qadeem as well. Him being ma'bood is also qadeem. It's age old, it's ancient from beginning. Because He's always manifesting, He's always creating, He's always bestowing. So He always must be worthy of worship. So every action that goes against the natural order turns the very nature of existence against us. Every atom in the universe turns against us. And so if my actions are pure, totally qurbatan ila Allah, then Allah will place barakah in those actions. But if my actions are not qurbatan ila Allah, especially when it comes to the deen, maybe when I'm alone, possibly, but when I'm amongst the jama'ah, I'm amongst people, to keep those actions sincere is very difficult. Because sometimes I will do something to impress someone, yeah? So to make them think, oh wow, what a mu'min. Or sometimes I will do an action to spite someone, which is even worse. Well, both are as bad as each other. But I will do something, zahiran, I'm doing something that's good. For example, I don't know, reading Quran, yeah? Zahiran, what I'm doing is good. But what's my niyyah behind it? I want to show these people that I'm a good reciter. Oh, I don't want this person to recite. Now the khair that was there is now dragging me to hell. There's no purity in that niyyah now. There's no purity in that action, because the action from the start was corrupted by shaitan. When we talk about Zakaria alayhi salam and Yahya, we say yusari'una fil, Allah says yusari'una fil khairat, they ran towards doing good, meaning what? They did good. And this is the other thing, doing good at its appointed time. At its appointed time. Everything has a had. And I said this to you during the Fatimiyya Majalis, and in those Majalis after Fatimiyya, and then a few nights ago as well, that Amir al-Mu'mineen, he says, adab, manners, is what? Al-adab, and yaqif al-insani 'inda haddi. Adab, manners is that a man stays within his hudud. He understands where his had is, he understands where his boundaries are, and he stays within them. And everyone's boundaries are different. Boundaries change as well. I gave you the example. For my father, I'm his son. But for my daughter, I'm her father. Now I can't act like I'm her peer. Nor can I act like I'm my father's peer. Al-adab an yaqif al-insan 'inda haddi. Everybody understands their hudud. And this, when we talk about doing khair, this is a very important part of doing khair at its correct time. So when there is a specific time, for example, the time of salah. You have the time of salah, of dhuhr, of asr, is at a particular time. I decide to delay and pray an hour, 2 hours later, 3 hours later, such that the time of fadila, you know, the fadila time of dhuhr and asr is the most. Every single salah has a fadila time. Every salah. This is the time where you are able to access the divine grace the most. Absolutely at its peak. That if you pray at that time, you will gain the most from that salah. Maghrib has the shortest time. It's only 10 minutes. Where the bab of Jannah, the doors of Jannah open up for you. Same with Salat al-Fajr. We have, alaykum as-salam, we have a narration by the Imam of our time. He says, Mal'oon, cursed, is that individual that waits, that delays his Maghrib such that the stars can be seen in the sky. And Mal'oon is that individual who delays his Fajr such that the stars can no longer be seen in the sky. You know, because Maghrib time, how do we define Maghrib? This is something very important, because we look for darkness, but Maghrib isn't darkness. If you look at the criteria for Maghrib, it is this: as the sun sets below the horizon. Now, there's a different discussion. There are some of our classical ulama and some modern day ulama who believe that actually at sunset is the time. But that's a different discussion on the time of Maghrib and whatever. However, traditionally, this is how we define Maghrib. When the sun sets, there is a redness that goes into the sky. When you look up, that redness is there. But when that redness passes away from you and retreats into the distance, so it's no longer over your head, that is the time of Maghrib. That's the time of Maghrib. Not darkness. Not darkness. So from that point that the redness disappears, and this is why it's very important to have observed timings, where we go out and we look for these signs that have been given to us by the A'imma alayhimus salam, that this redness, when it disappears, and you'll see it's dusk, so you can still see at the time of Maghrib. You still have a certain level that you can see. There's a certain visibility. But when it goes totally dark, then the time of Maghrib has passed by. That's not the actual time of Maghrib. The real time of Maghrib is when that redness from over your head disappears into the horizon. As in, you can still see it, but it's not over your head. So the adab of salah is what? That it be prayed inda haddih, within its appointed time. So even ibadat has adab. Even all of our ibadat has adab. If I don't have adab towards ibadat, the ibadat won't unlock its secrets for me. Every ibadat has a certain adab that must be fulfilled to unlock the secrets that are hidden within. The adab of namaz, there are many different adab of namaz. Obviously the precursor to it is your wudu. Is your wudu sahih? Unfortunately, we go to places and we see people who are doing wudu and it's not. And that every namaz is dependent, is contingent upon that wudu. You see people pouring water on their arms and going up and down like this. This is broken, the wudu is batil. You see people who, to do masha, they wet their hand again. Again, this is batil. You'll see people who do the masha of the feet, but haven't managed to wet the whole foot. They'll just touch it like this and go. And there's still dry spot. People who are washing their arms and their elbow is still dry. These are all things that will make your wudu batil. If your wudu is batil, then your salah is batil. Because the precursor to it, adab, is the adab of salah. The other adab is that it be prayed on time with the correct pronunciation, with the correct way of praying. Yeah, these are all the adab of that salah. And so to unlock that salah and the secrets that are hidden within, one needs to understand all of these things. Jama'ah, Salatul Jama'ah has adab. You know, according to the A'imma alayhimus salam, if the adab of Jama'ah is this: if there is one Jama'ah happening, a second one cannot happen. This is from the Imams alayhimus salam. Two Jama'ats cannot happen in the same building simultaneous, except under extreme duress. Or in the Jama'ah, when whoever is leading, you do not go ahead of them. You do not do the dhikr loud enough that the Imam, the person leading, can hear. These are all the different adab if one wants to unlock these secrets. So all of this khair that we have in this dunya, everything, all khair. Remember one thing, all khair.
Subhanallah.
In this dunya, its origins are Ali Muhammad.
Subhanallah.
It's simple as that. In Ziyarat Jami'a Kabira, Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam, he says,
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil faraj.
the Imam alayhi salam, he says, in ذكر الخير كنتم أوله وأصله ومعدنه ومأواه ومنتهاه. Says, O Ali Muhammad, wherever there is mention of khair in this dunya, be it khair of ibadat, khair of sadaqah, khair of one human to another, khair, any sort of khair, of the human to the animal to the human, any good that is in this dunya, kuntum awwalahu. You are the start of it. وَآخِرُهُ, and you are the end of it. وَأَصْلَهُ وَمَعْدِنُهُ وَمَأْوَاهُ, and you are the roots of all of that. Every single khair, all good in this dunya originates from Ali Muhammad, and all evil in this dunya originates from the enemies of Ali Muhammad. This is hadith from the Imams. This is all good in this world that you see. Thank Allah for us, for it came from us. And all evil that you see, know that it comes from our enemies. Hazrat Yahya and Zakaria yusari'una fil khayrat. They would run to do khair. Any opportunity to do good, they would run towards it. If it was the time of salah, they would run towards it. If it was fasting, they would run towards it. If it was hajj, they would run to all of these things. They would run towards them. Amir al-Mu'mineen, salatullah wa salamuhu alayhi. He says, جمع الخير كله في ثلاث خصال. Says Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has gathered all of khair in three characteristics, in three things. Another was sukut wal kalam. Three things. All of khair is captured in them. First is your sight. Another. The second, sukut, silence. Third, wal kalam. And then the third is speaking. And then Imam explains. He says, وَكُلُّ نَظَرٍ لَيْسَ فِيهِ اعْتِبَارٌ فَهُوَ السَّهْوٌ. Says every nazar, every sight, everything that you see, if from it you do not gain ibrah, then this is sahu. This you've forgotten. Everything that you look at, try and learn from it. Don't just be passive. See, in this modern society of TikTok videos and WhatsApp videos and our ever decreasing attention span, we have become passive. Now our whole deen is based on, if I get a clip from someone somewhere that has said something, this must be true. I don't want to analyze it, because this whole system has been created to pacify me, to stop my independent thought, to stop my ability to question. And so I will sit passively and hear whatever is said to me, and I'll just accept it. But Amir al-Mu'mineen saying, listen, look, when you see something, take ibrah from it, take a lesson from it. Don't just look at it and just let it go past. No, everything. That's another that will take you towards khair, towards good, is that another, that sight that is taking lessons from everything that they see. وَكُلُّ السُّكُوتِ لَيْسَ فِيهِ فِقْرٌ فَهُوَ غَفْلَةٌ. Says, and every moment of silence that you have, if it is not coupled with thinking, with fikr, with tadabbur, with you pondering, فَهُوَ غَفْلَةٌ. That is ghafla. That is you being inattentive. Ghafla is the state of autopilot. I'm asleep. I don't want to question. It's and the example I've given many times before, those of you who go to work every day, who commute to work every day to the same place, after a few weeks or after a few months, you will sometimes sit in the car and drive and wake up and reach work and think, I can't remember driving. I don't remember this whole drive. The whole thing, I was lost in my own thoughts about something else. This is ghafla. When the Imams ﷺ speak about muraqabah is constant attention to my every single action. Not for a moment am I ghafil about everything. Not for a moment am I ghafil about anything. If I'm sitting, I know what the purpose of my sitting is. If I'm walking, I know what the purpose of my walking is. If I'm sitting down and listening, that silence is not just me being passive, but there is tadabbur, there is fikr happening. If I don't, the Imam says this is ghafla. وَكُلُّ كَلَامٍ لَيْسَ فِيهِ ذِكْرٌ فَهُوَ لَغْوٌ. Says, and every word that you speak, every kalam, every sentence that you utter, if it is not accompanied by the remembrance of Allah, فَهُوَ لَغْوٌ, it's then vain. That talk is vain. Meaning, do I have to say in every single sentence, Subhanallah, MashaAllah? No. But the niyyah is there, that I'm only speaking that which my Lord is happy with. No ghiba, no lying, no tuhmat, no harsh words. I'll only do what my Lord wants from me. Zakaria and Yahya yusari'una fil khayrat. They would run towards doing khair. We need to create that within ourselves, to run towards a good action. We do a good action, but we do it in our own time. Namaz time is this time, but I'm going to pray in my own time. This isn't yusari'una fil khayrat. Majlis time is this time, but I'm going to turn up at my own time. Even though I know that the person, the bani of the majlis is not the sponsor, it's Imam al-Hujjah himself. But I make the Imam wait, because my time. This isn't yusari'una fil khayrat. This isn't the one that runs towards good. Because if I had that feeling, that pain in my heart for these actions, then I would run towards them. The second thing that Allah says about Hazrat Yahya and Zakaria, يَدْعُونَنَا رَغْبًا وَرَاحِبًا. It says that they called to us, they did dua to us, yearning, desire. There was this desire to be with Allah and in awe of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. إِذْ نَادَى رَبُّهُ نِدَاءً خَفِيًّا. He called to his Lord, did nida, called out to his Lord, khafiyya, in awe of his Lord, in hiding, desiring. See, the Arafah, they speak about the stages towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. After the stage of ma'rifatillah, after the stage of having ma'rifah of Allah, the person enters into the realm of hubb, into love. They fall in love with Allah. This is the first stage, after ma'rifah. When they're in love, this is yusari'un, they run towards doing any sort of khair. They fall in love with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And after the maqam, after the realm of hubb, of love, they go into the realm of shawq, of fondness. Now it's beyond love. Now they just want to be in the company of the person. They find this fondness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But fondness, shawq, is only for the tariq. It's only for the path. Because this is what drives a person on the path to want to get closer to Allah. So it pushes him on the spiritual path to do more and more ibadat, so more worship, more tazkiyatul nafs, more tawassul to the Imam, more calling out to the Imam, more istighatha to the Imam. This is that shawq. It drives him on the tariq. But then when that tariq ends, the person leaves the realm of shawq and enters the realm of uns, of intimacy. This uns, the realm of uns, the realm of intimacy, is where the munajats are recited. You see how different dua is to munajat. Take dua Kumail. اللهم إني أسألك برحمتك التي وسعت كل شيء. Oh Allah, I beseech you by your mercy that encompasses everything. But then look at Munajat Sha'baniyah. Opening lines again. واسمع دعائي إذا دعوتك واسمع ندائي إذا ناديتك. Listen to me when I call out to you. Hear me when I cry out to you. This is the maqam of uns, of intimacy. To be so close with the beloved that you can say, وَإِنَّ أَدْخَلْتَنِ النَّارِ أَعْلَمْتُ أَهْلَهَا أَنِّي أُحِبُّكَ. That even if you were to throw me into the fires of hell, I would announce to the people that I still love you. This is the maqam of uns. But even then, after this, when one progresses past the maqam of intimacy, they enter the final maqam, the maqam of khawf, of fear. Fear not because Allah will send adhab on me. That's not the fear. The fear is that which I have gained, that friendship, that closeness, that intimacy with Allah that I have gained. Let me not do something that takes it away from me. The fear is to lose the friend, is to lose the one who you are in love with. That's the fear. That's the fear that the Imams alayhi salam had. This is why they're doing constant istighfar. The Imam is ma'soom. He is ismat. He can never sin. He does not sin. But yet he's still doing istighfar. Istighfar of the Imam is not because of his sin. His istighfar is because he is still makhluq and Allah is khaliq. His istighfar is because of this intimacy that he has with Allah, and him seeing Allah in every single thing, everywhere that he looks, and to be connected with the divine power, the divine knowledge, the divine attributes, and to never want to lose that. That's the khawf. That's why they say, يتململ تململ السليم ويبكي بكاء الوالح الحزين. That we would see Ali in the mihrab of ibadat, writhing like a venomous snake, like a man bitten by a venomous snake, out of fear, holding on to his beard, crying, and calling out, wailing, Ya dunya ghurri ghayri. Oh dunya, go deceive someone else, because Ali is not to be deceived. This maqam of intimacy with Allah. These are stages that we must pass through, each and every one of us. We must push into falling in love with Allah. But remember, there is no way, even though the Imam in dua, and Abu Hamza Thamani says, Allahumma inni ajidu subul al-matalibi ilayka musha'a wa manahil al-raja'i ladayka mutra'a. Says that, my Lord, I see all the various paths and the courses to you open. There are various ways of reaching Allah. These various ways of reaching Allah is through ibadat. Is through the various ibadat. And those various ibadat can only be quantified as being correct ibadat through one way. If one does not have this, no ibadat is accepted. This is guaranteed. This is guaranteed. All of these ibadats that take us towards Allah, salah, sawm, hajj, zakat, khums, jihad, all of these that take us towards Allah, they all have one prerequisite. If that prerequisite is not met, then no path, no ibadat will take us to Allah. And that prerequisite is the wilayat of Ahlul Bayt. Without ma'rifah of the wali, of the hujjah of Allah, ibadat is wasted. And one that has ma'rifah of the hujjah of Allah will never waste ibadat. These are two things. The one that does ibadat without the hujjah, without the wilayat of the hujjah, it's not ibadat. It won't take him to Allah. That's shaitanate. But the one that claims to have the wilayat of the hujjah and doesn't do ibadat, that's also shaitanate. See, do you see both sides, two extremes? Both things, in order for it to reach Allah, must have wilayat and ibadat side by side for a person to reach Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Without these two, one can never achieve closeness and uns with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because I don't know the way to Allah. It's only the hujjah of Allah that can show me the way to Allah. الفلك الجارية في اللجج الغامرة يأمن من ركبها ويغرق من تركها المتقدم لهم مارك والمتأخر عنهم زاهق واللازم لهم لاحق. When Imam Sajjad introduces Ali Muhammad in Salawat Sha'baniyah, he says, you Ali Muhammad are الفلك الجارية في اللجج الغامرة. You are ships that sail upon unfathomless seas. يأمن من ركبها. And the one that has believed in you has mounted into that ship. وَيَغْرَقُ مَنْ تَرَكَهَا. And drowned is the one that left you. الْمُتَقَدِّمُ لَهُمْ مَارِكٌ. The one who went right in front of you was وَالْمُتَأَخِّرُ عَنْهُمْ زَاهِقٌ. The one that went ahead of you was destroyed. The one who stayed too far behind you was lost. وَاللَّازِمُ لَهُمْ لَاحِقٌ. But the one that stayed with you at every stage was reunited with you. Me, this wilayat of Ali Muhammad, in this there is no opinion of my own. When the hujjah says something, I say okay. There's no opinion. Because يَأْمَنُ مَنْ رَكِبَهَا. Those that have iman, they mounted upon the ark. Now when that ark goes left, they go left. When it goes right, they go right. When it goes fast, they go fast. When it goes slow, they go slow. They don't jump off and try and guide the ark. Wilayat, ibadat. That, to make your ibadat successful with wilayat, one must submit to the hujjah of Allah. One must submit to the hujjah of Allah. Without submission to the hujjah of Allah, one can never achieve submission towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The third characteristic that Allah mentions of Yahya alayhi salam and Zakaria, كانوا لنا خاشعين. Says Yahya and Zakaria, both of them were humble. They were down to earth. And this is one of the sifat of the prophets of God, that they were extremely humble. Me now, given a little bit of authority, a little bit of knowledge, now I don't want to sit with people. Now I want special protocols. Now I want special rooms to sit on. I want special chairs and special tables because I think that I'm something. But the awliya of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the anbiya of Allah, none of this was there. They were chosen by Allah. But me, just given a little task, all of a sudden goes to my head. One day Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to Musa, says, Musa, I want you to go and find someone or something that is lower than you. That is lower than you in rank. Musa says, okay. So he goes out, he looks around, sees a farmer. He says, this man's only a farmer. So maybe. He says, no, actually no. He's working the land to feed people. That's more than what I'm doing. So he says, okay. He looks around again, sees a lady with a child. He says, lady, she obviously can't be, I'm Nabi Allah. But then he sees the child, he says, no, wait. She's raising a child. She's raising the next generation. Something that I can't do. He says, so she's better than me as well. He goes around, he looks around here, there, can't find anyone. Can't find anyone. But then he remembers, says, God said anything. So Musa alayhi salam begins to look in the animal kingdom now. So he comes across a cow, says, it's just a cow. He says, no wait, this cow gives milk, this cow gives meat. I can't fault this cow. This cow has more utility than I have. Sees a camel, same thing again. Sees a donkey, says, a donkey, good choice. Says, no wait, hold on. This donkey is carrying the burden of people. And it's going from one place to another. And never once does the donkey complain about the burden on his back. Says, he's better than me. So Musa alayhi salam, confused. He looks around and he comes across a flea-bitten dog. A dog that is about to die. It's malnourished, covered in fleas. Musa alayhi salam says, now, task complete. Says that this, I've got to be better than this dog that is here. It's in a bad state. So he begins to look around for a rope to tie the dog's neck with and take it back to Kohitur, and Ya Allah, I found something that is worse than me. Task complete. He says, but all of a sudden, he sees a child come and he throws a bone with some meat on it to the dog. All of a sudden, the dog jumped up, wagged its tail, and ate the meat. He ate the meat, ate the bone, and the little boy, seeing this, he began to laugh. Musa says, this dog just made the boy laugh. And he taught the boy that being thankful, you should be thankful if someone does something for you. He says, this dog is better than me. It's taught this child how to do shukr when you receive a ni'mah. This dog is better than me. Musa gives up, he goes back to Kohitur. Says, Ya Allah, I searched everywhere. I looked in the men and I looked in the animals. I found no one better than me. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Musa, this is what I wanted. If you had brought even one single animal or human being, I would have removed risalat from you. I would have removed, if you for a moment thought that one other creature you were better than that, I would have removed the whole of risalat from you. And me, every single, I have a chip on my shoulder, I think I'm better than anyone and everyone, just because I've been allowed to sit on this minbar. Just because I've been bestowed with some droplets of knowledge. I look down on everyone. But Allah says, Zakaria and Yahya were humble. And the narration says, لولا ثلاثة من وضع ابن آدم رأسه لشيء. Says that if it were not for three things, the son of Adam would never lower his head in front of anyone. He would always walk around in arrogance. But Allah placed three things that humble him. Al-faqr, poverty. وَالْمَرَض وَالْمَوْتِ. Says these three things, if these three things were not given to the son of Adam, his arrogance would know no bounds. He would walk around the most arrogant person upon the face of the earth. Arrogance is that one thing that destroyed Iblis. It was his arrogance that destroyed him. More than anything else. Said, I have been created from fire, and he's been created from clay. Why should I bow to him? Arrogance is the destroyer of all things. You look in Karbala and the arrogance with which they presented themselves to Abu Abdullah. When Imam al-Hussein dug the trench around the back of the tents, Abdullah ibn Hawza standing there, he says, Hussein, are you so eager to go to hell that you have built for yourself a fire in this dunya? See the arrogance. Imam raises his hand, Allahumma uzhu bin nar. Allah burn him. His horse throws him into the fire and it burns. Another man standing by him says, Hussein, don't think that was because of your dua. He sees it with his own eyes, but his arrogance won't allow him to accept that it was the dua of the hujjah of Allah. Arrogance is that one thing that will drive you to kill the hujjah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is the one thing that will drive you to commit the most heinous of acts. Today I want to remember that mother who after Karbala would tell the people that do not call me by my laqab anymore. She would say to the people that, yes, you used to call me al-Baneen, but don't call me al-Baneen anymore. For those sons of mine for whom I was called al-Baneen, for they're all lost in Karbala. You hear when Bishr ibn al-Hadlam comes into Medina and al-Baneen comes to him, and Bishr is calling out, Ya ahla Yathrib la muqama lakum biha, قتل الحسين فأدمعي مدرار الجسم منه بكربلاء مضرج والرأس منه على القناة يدار. He says, O people of Yathrib, this is no place for you to remain anymore, for Hussein has been killed in Karbala. His body was left and mutilated on the earth, and his head taken around the cities. At that moment, al-Baneen comes. She says, Ya Na'i, what news do you have of my son Hussein? When he asks, who is this lady that is calling Hussein her son? They tell him this is al-Baneen. One by one, he gives her condolences for her sons. And al-Baneen says, no, Hussein, no, Hussein. But there was one time, before the name of Abi Abdullah was mentioned, that al-Baneen herself had to gather herself for one last time. And that was when he said to her, Ya al-Baneen, عظم الله لك الأجر بولدك أبي الفضل العباس. O al-Baneen, accept my condolences for the death of Qamar al-Ashira, the Qamar of Bani Hashim, Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. At that moment, al-Baneen, the child she had in her hand, she dropped it. She fell to the ground. She held on to her chest. She said, oh man, you have ripped my heart to pieces. But I asked you about Hussein. After she'd got the news of Abi Abdullah, at the end of the day, al-Baneen is still a mother. And so she was seen sitting in Baqi every day around the graves in Baqi, and she would call out this poem that, oh people, do not call me al-Baneen anymore, for those sons of mine have gone. And then she would address Abbas. She would say, they say to me, Hussein has been killed in Karbala. And I said to them, how is it possible when my Abbas is there that anyone come near Hussein? But oh Abbas, they tell me that they severed your arms from your body. Abbas, Abbas, they tell me that they hit you with an iron bar upon your head. Oh al-Baneen, if that was all they told you, they did not tell you the full story. The Maqatil say that Abbas, with an arrow in his eye, wishing to remove the arrow, bends down, uses his knees to remove that arrow. As he's trying to remove it, the man with an iron bar comes, strikes him on the head. Abbas falls to the ground. al-Baneen, his arms are severed. al-Baneen, there is an arrow in his eye. They say Abbas fell from the horse to the earth, upon his face, the arrow in his eye, driving fire. ألا لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ya Allah, forgive our sins. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ya Allah, forgive the sins of our parents. Ya Allah, those of our parents that are alive, give them long lives. Those of our parents that have left this world, give them a place next to Ali Muhammad in Jannah. Allah, those who are ill, give them shifa'ah. Those who are in debt, clear their debts. Ya Allah, there are those that have asked us specifically for dua. Those that are ill, especially Qambar has asked us to pray for him at this moment. Our Sajjad's sister is also ill, and all the other mu'mineen and mu'minat who have asked us for dua. Ya Allah, for the sake of this moment, this time of Maghrib, and for the sake of the tears that were shed for Abi Abdullah, give shifa'ah to all those that are ill. Ya Allah, keep safe the Shia of Ali Muhammad around the world. Ya Allah, give us tawfiq to go and do the ziyarat of Abi Abdullah and Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam this year and every year. Ya Allah, give us tawfiq for Hajj and Umrah this year and every year. Ya Allah, hasten the reappearance of the Imam of our time and allow us to be amongst his true muntadhireen, his true waiters. In the end, for the sponsors, for the marhumeen of tonight's sponsors, the marhumeen of Aqil Kirmani, Dr. Jawad Ali and Zulfiqar Tariq, please honor their souls and your own marhumeen and those that have no one to recite for them with the recitation of Surah Al-Fatiha. But before that, the loudest of your salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.